Salve and welcome to another installment of Magister Ambulator. Today we will be starting a new series on Jonah chapter 1. Today we'll be going through the first 4 verses here. Let's start off with a read through. Vayehi devar Yahweh el Yonah ben Amittai lemor. Kum lake el Ninawe ha'ir ha'gdola ukra aleha. Ki aletha ra'atham lefanai. Vayakum Yonah livruach tarshisha milifnei Yahweh vayired yafo. Vayimsa oniya ba'a Tarshish. Vayeten sichara vayired ba lavo imahim Tarshisha milifnei Yahweh. ويهوه هيتيل روح גדולה אל הים, ויהי סער גדול בים. והאונייה חישבה לחישבר. Translation. And the word of the Lord came to Jonah, literally, and it was to Jonah, son of Amittai, saying, Rise, go to Nineveh, the city, the great one, the great city, and cry out against it, for their evil has come up before me. And Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish, that's a directional hey there, from before the Lord, or from the presence of the Lord. And he went down to Joppa, and he found a vessel going to Tarshish. And he paid the fare, literally he gave the fare, and he went down in it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. And the Lord sent a wind, a great wind, to the sea, and there was a great storm in the sea, and the vessel was thinking about breaking up. Now, this wow here can be taken as a conjunctive, but it can also be taken as a result. So the storm was so great in the sea, such that the vessel was thinking about breaking up. Now let's take a look at a few interesting things here. So the book of Jonah starts off with a phrase that never starts off any prophetic book. This is only taken after the prophet's mission has already been set up. And the book of Jonah has several comedic things about it, and this looks like it's probably one of them, because it starts off without giving you any information about Jonah. It's as if you picked up in verse 4 rather than verse 1. Some medieval theologians tried to explain this by saying this was actually an epilogue to Ezra and Nehemiah rather than its own book, and it only later got separated. There's also a theme that shows up in the book of Jonah, and it is the big theme. Everything is big. The city is big, the wind is big, the storm is big. We'll see the word big show up about 15 times in the 4 chapters of the book of Jonah. There's also the theme of going down, which Jonah constantly does. He goes down to Joppa, he goes down into the boat. He goes down several more times throughout the 4 chapters. There's a wordplay here at the end of verse 4, the hishava lahishaver, and you notice that pretty obviously. However, that's an even better wordplay than you originally thought. The letter chet, as we know from our historical linguistics, was softer than it is currently pronounced in modern Hebrew. It's not that rough. It originally was a much softer, just a harder form of the hey, so ha. And we know that this verb, the chait shin vav, had that softer H from our Arabic. This is the hasaba. We see that ha there, not the ha. So that's an even better wordplay than you thought. Just going back and picking up a couple of grammatical items. So we have our 3 MP, ra'atham, their evil. We also have the participle ba'a. And we also have tarashisha, the directional hey, followed by an accusative of place, ba'a. And then we have the directional hey again. One final note about the verb chait shin vav. The KJV takes this in an interesting and perhaps not quite correct way by saying the ship was like to be broken. Now, one of the interesting things about the verb is that it is only used by people and by God in the sense of actively thinking or reckoning about things. Now, this is an active use of the PL here. So this is the only use of a non-animate subject governing this verb. Some English translations try to get away by saying it was reckoned to be broken up or is like to be broken up or something like that. That misses the point of the humor in that the vessel here is actively thinking about breaking up. The vessel here has actual agency, which goes along with the comedic aspects of the book of Jonah. Join us next time as we pick up with verse number 5 in Jonah 1, and until then, Vale.